Happy July! I am super excited. This month we are going to do something very cool that we have not actually done yet on Tune of the Month to date. You may remember last month I fulfilled a request to teach the classic 5-part Irish reel, the Foxhunters. And I showed it to you in the key of G. That's because it is very commonly played in the key of G. However, it is also very commonly played in the key of A. So as you build your repertoire, it's really important that you actually know the tune in both keys, because you'd be just as likely to have to play it in one key as the other. And this gives us a really cool opportunity to look at this little skill that is very useful to have in traditional music, and that is transposition, taking a tune and moving it from one key to another. Not only does it give you multiple versions of the same tune, but when you put tunes in different keys, they tend to take on a little bit of a different character. So it can be a really fun thing to play with all of your tunes. Move them around to different keys and see what it does to them. All right, but before we get into that little bit of musical nerdery, I will play for you the Foxhunters in A. Here that goes. And that's the tune. If you're just listening, thanks for stopping by. And if you're ready to do it, grab your instrument. Let's do it. Okay, so if you did not learn the Foxhunters in the key of G last month, I highly recommend that you pause here and go back and learn last month's version, because that's where I actually teach the tune as its own tune. This month, I'm not going to teach Foxhunters in A as a new tune. I'm going to talk about it expressly as it relates to the key of G, so we can work on that skill of transposition. All right, and obviously, if you already know the Foxhunters in G, you're good to go. Let's do this. Okay, so I'm not really be talking about, oh, this tune does it like this, does it like this. I'm going to say, hey, in the key of G, we used the root arpeggio. So let's do the same thing in the key of A, where the root arpeggio is A major. All right, so actually that is how part 1 starts right there. And I'm going to use a lot of the same bowing patterns as I did in the key of G. And I'll play the A section for you a little bit slowly. See if you can already play along with me and figure it out as you go. Starts with a 1/4 root arpeggio, in this case A major. Yeah, how much of that were you able to figure out on the first try? Hopefully quite a bit. So it's a descending A major arpeggio from the 5th, 3rd root, and we do that a couple of times. That's the little theme, part 1. Happens 3 times, and then our little turnaround. Right? Let's do that again. That's part 1 and 2 together. 3 descending A arpeggios and a tiny little turnaround. Here we go. Good. Second half does almost the same thing. 2 arpeggios. And our first ending, which you'll remember from the key of G, has a little skip up, skip down. This is odds team, evens team. If you're a string player, there's my odds team, fingers 1 and 3, my evens team 2, 4, and open. Odds, evens, and the same turnaround. Yeah, do that second half again, please. 2 A arpeggios, odds and evens, and the turnaround. Yeah, put those two halves together. By the way, if you want any repetitions of any of these things, if I'm going quickly, you can always just rewind the video and play it as many times as you need. I'm happy to play with you at your own pace, however much you want. But let's put together the whole A section. We'll do two of them. Starts with 3 arpeggios and a turnaround. Ready, and 3, turn around, 2 arpeggios, odds, evens, turn around, repeat, 2, 3, turn around, 1, 2, ending. And I'm ending where the next section is going to go to. Okay, cool. So that probably is feeling comfortable, hopefully. Now, you might already be noticing that now that we've moved Foxhunters to A, even though the same melodic patterns happen and a lot of the same bowings work, there are some places where slightly different bowings and slightly different ornaments are going to feel better in the key of A than in the key of G, especially on stringed instruments. And the reason for that is our string crossings are in a different place, right? And also it gives me, like, when I play this in G, right? We were doing a lot of that little hammer-on last month, right? In the key of A, I can't hammer on my open string. So what I do, of course, as we've done in past tune of the months, I'm going to double my 4th finger and my open string. And that allows me to hammer on my 4th finger. But that little unison of the 4th finger and open string gives it a little bit of extra brightness, extra pizzazz that the key of A has. The key of A is way more pizzazzy than the key of G, which is very kind of calm and stately and beautiful, right? Key of A is much brasher. So that kind of matches the character, doesn't it? Let's play the 2 A sections again and see if you can use that hammer on with the unison double stop to both ornament it and make it a little more key of A-ish. Here we go. 3 arpeggios, 2, 3, and... Yeah, there you go. Now, if you follow that another step, this sound being very, like joyful and key of A-ish, you can actually get a nice little variation here, especially on the second time after you do your 3 arpeggios. Rather than just doing 2 arpeggios, just, yeah, I'm just sitting on this. And it's a little hemiola. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Try that little variation. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, and ending. Good, do it again. Ready? And 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. All right, so that's a really cool way to do it. We're going to go incorporate that in just a second. I'll show you one more thing to point out. The more astute of you may have already noticed that when I play this ending, I'm using a different bowing pattern from when I did it in G. Last month when we did that ending in the key of G, it felt really good to use 3 plus 1, 1 plus 3 bowing pattern, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. That's a pattern that's used a lot in Irish music. Sometimes we call it the palindrome bowing or the mirror image bowing, right? Because 3 plus 1 and 1 plus 3 fold on each other. Yeah. If that doesn't make sense to you, clearly you're new to Tune of the Month. Welcome. Hope you're having fun. If you want further explanation of what I mean by that, we've done those bowing patterns in great detail in past Tune of the Month videos. You can go check those out and get a closer look at them. Or you can just kind of learn it immersion style here with me now. All right, so in the key of G, that worked really well. And do you notice why? Those slurs happen to end up on the same string. My string crossings are in the separate bows. So that bowing pattern felt really good for the key of G. In the key of A, if I do that, I end up with a really uncomfortable slur there at the end, don't I? With 2 string crossings in the slur. Now, I don't mind crossing 1 string over a slur, but 2 gets a little difficult to control. So, instead of using the 3 plus 1, 1 plus 3 palindrome pattern, I'm going to use my favorite bowing. I call it the hook 3. It's not a hooked bow, it is a slur. And it's 3 separate, 3 slur, and 2 extra at the end. 1, 2, 3, slur, extra. So do you see how that bowing falls better where the string crossings are? Let's do it. 1, 2, 3, slur, extra. Try it with the unison variation and the adjusted bowing for the key of A. Ready? And 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, extra. 1, 2, 3, slur, extra. Nice, one more like that. Ready? And nice. All right, so that's showing you real quickly some of the adjustments that you might make to the A section of Foxhunters when you move it to A as opposed to G. Notice we didn't talk too much about the notes because those are just kind of there, right? We're talking about how you might adjust your bowings, how you might adjust your double stop use, and your ornaments. Now, any of these ornaments or double stops that are new to you here, we have, again, done them in past Tune of the Months, each by itself, and really worked on it carefully. So I'm kind of assuming that you have all those pieces either from hanging out with me or from the rest of your fiddle lives. If it feels fast, just go check out each of those elements. And as you master each of them, you'll be able to put them into this tune more and more comfortably. All right, so let's just cap this off. Let's do 2 A's, please. The first one, normal. The second one, on the second time, we're gonna do that little unison variation, or at least I'm gonna do it if you'd like to do it with me. Ready? 2, 3, 3 arpeggios. Turn around, 2 arpeggios. Hook 3 bowing, 1, 2, 3, slur, extra, repeat. Variation. 1, 2, 3. Nice, all right, so that's a lot to do on the A section to keep you busy. Again, rewind if you want to do anything again. I'm gonna go on to the B section. I'll play 2 B sections slowly. Now that you've got the idea of how you might make little adjustments in your transposition, I'm gonna go a little quicker through the tune, but use the same ideas that we did for the A section. Here we go, 2 B's slowly. See if you can just play it with me. Use your ear, figure out the relative patterns compared to how we did it in G. Ready? And the same ending for the A section gets used for the B. How very nice. All right, so let's take a little look at this first part, part 1 of the B section. What's distinctive about this is that it has the long hold on the low note and it jumps up a 6th. All right, let's do that. Ready, and okay, so that interval is 6th. What a 6 is going to do on your violin fingerboard is we're tuned in perfect fifths. So if I start on my low E here, first finger, if I hop across the string, put my first finger on both, that's a 5th. If I add 1 finger on the top, that's a 6th. 6 will always be neighboring pairs of fingers, open 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, with the higher number finger on the higher string. So that's a really easy way to transpose a 6th. In the key of G, we had the open D moving to the B there, that's a 6th. If I want to move it up to the key of A, all I got to do is find the 6th that's a step up. Hey, not too bad. Try that. Yeah, you notice it's the same turnaround as the A section too, right? Sixth, A6 chord coming down, A major, turn around. Nice, one more time, first half. Good, second half is going to start the same way like the beginning with our 6th and the A6 chord. And our cloud ending from the first part. Odds team, evens team, turn around. Nice! And you hear I'm putting in pretty much the same ornaments as I did in the key of G, right? Little tap there to go in between the repeated notes. Little tap here, right? And I could, when I sit on this nice low E, I've got that time, I could roll that, couldn't I, in the key of A? In the key of G, I couldn't because it's an open string. You can't roll an open string, right? Because a roll would be note, the melody note, that is. Then you do a pitch above, back to the melody, below, note. So if your note is an open string, there's no below, right? That's why we couldn't roll in the key of G. But in the key of A, oh yeah, we could do it. Cool, isn't it? Now, I wouldn't roll it every time because there's something really distinctive in this B section about going ba da da ba da ba da ba da, like that big landing on the low note. That's really cool. So I wouldn't roll it every time. I'd probably do it without the first and then with on the second, kind of thing. All right, let's play 2 Bs. Roll what bottoms you like. Ready, 2, 3, low note. Second half. Cloud ending. Repeat. Nice, and that's the B section. Anything you want to do again? Just go ahead and rewind. That's totally fine. All right, here comes the C section. This is the big exciting part where we go up high. And we're going to use an A6 chord. Remember we did it G6 last month? Basically all that means, as you know, is an A major chord, root, 3rd, 5th, root, but we're going to add in the 6th note, root, 3rd, 5th, 6th, root. Do that with me again. Locate that 6th because you're going to need it. Root, 3rd, 5th, 6th, root. Good. And how the C section is going to go, of course, we're going to do that descending. I'm going to start with that and go on to play 2 Cs. Figure out everything you can by ear to play with me. Ready? 2, 3, G6, A6, A6. Feeling a little familiar in shape from the key of G? Let's take a quick look. We start with our A6, of course. 1, 3. And I am doing that same bowing like I did in the key of G. I'm scooping in the bottom landing there. Now regular old A major. first half, and that very ending there, that's another interesting place when we transpose. Now, when we did it in the key of G, we did it with a little tap, right? Do you notice that's not available here in the key of A? Why? Well, because the melody on the string instruments, you flute players are fine. You don't have to have this discussion. So flute players take a 30-second coffee break. String players, it's played with the fourth finger, isn't it? We don't have any finger available to tap. Ugh. So we have to just play through it with no ornament. That's okay. Nobody's gonna die if you don't ornament something, that's fine. However, if you really want an ornament, you could force a little variation. Rather than playing up for the high B, you could jump down for the low B and roll it. There's a cool idea. Let's try that. Flute players, you might want to try this too. Obviously not just flute players. If you have the octave jump, do it. If you don't, stay up high and ornament as you can, whatever your instrument allows in the key of A. Here we go, A6, A major. I'm gonna jump down. So that's how I get my ornament. Let's try that again. Try the octave jump down just for funsies, if you have it on your instrument. A6. Yeah, and then the second half. And this is the only ending that is its own ending in the C section. Up the scale. Hop, down, and roll. That's another situation where in the key of G, string players, that was an open string. We couldn't ornament it. Now, it is. We're landing on a first finger. We can roll it, just like what happened in the B section, right? So let's put together two A's, please. I'm going to play the first one going up high in the middle there. And on the repeat, I'm going to go down low to get the roll. Do as you like. Two C sections, starting with the A6 arpeggio descending. Ready? 2, 3, and A major. Its own ending, up the scale, jump down, roll. I'm jumping down. That's two C's. You see how we're playing with it? It's so fun. The key of A gives us possibilities that the key of G didn't necessarily point to. And vice versa, by the way. None of this is to say that the key of A is better. I could just have easily had taught you the key of A first and then the key of G. And we would have discovered a whole bunch of things in the key of G that are not available in A. This is the fun of transposition, but your job is to find what options become available in each different key. All right, we need the D section. This is the one that stays up high and does the big rolls. Sounds like this. Each time. This is the Irish sense of making variations, where things are the same. If I go versus or, right? You can hear that those three options are slightly different, but for the sake of the tune, it's considered more or less the same. And this D section, for me personally, is kind of the squishiest section melodically. in terms of how you can do tiny little variations in terms of how you connect the material. What's important, what makes this the D section, is the going up to the root. Right? That's the really important part. So find that. It's the fifth going to the root, which is now A. Now, of course, I'm ornamenting that the same way I did in the key of G, right? When I have my two repeated notes, right there, I'm going to tap in between them. That's just good Irish style, right? And when I land there, I'm at least going to hammer on it. Better yet, I'll roll it. Now this is kind of cool. In the key of G, we got to do that as a second finger roll. Now we're doing it as a third finger roll. If you're newer to rolls, you may not like third finger rolls yet because you have to use your fourth finger, right? Well, there's no reason that should make your third finger roll less attractive than your second finger roll. So use this as an opportunity to start working on your third finger rolls. Fourth finger can do it. Come on, fourth finger. You need lots of fourth finger for ornamental purposes and also double stopping purposes in the A section. All right, so let's play two Ds, please. Two D sections, that is. We're gonna go for that big high root, da 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 da, da da root root, and kind of fudge it. Again, up to the root and land. And then we have our second cloud ending, which I'll show you real quickly. It's basically the first cloud ending, only the first part starts over a string. Odds, evens. Does that sound familiar from the key of G? Odds, evens. And in the key of G, I bowed it with a hook 3 bowing. I'm also going to do that here. 1, 2, 3, slur, extra. Try that again with me one more time, this last ending. 1, 2, 3, slur, extra. Nice, here we go, 2 D sections. Up to the root. Up to root and roll. And up to root. Turn around. Up to root and roll. Ending. Odds, evens. Good, repeat. Up to root and roll. Up to root. Turn around. Up to root and roll. Ending. You got it. That's your D section. If you want more repetition, just rewind and do it a bunch. That's great. And we finish up the E section, which is, as you remember from last month, actually where the tune chills out, right? We have a rockin' A, right, kind of groovy. We go down low for the B, up high, tumbling down for the C, the cascade. The D section stays up high, and then the E section chills back out. I use mostly the A major arpeggio with string crossing. Sounds like this. Cloud ending. Do it again. Okay, so this is another fun one when we change keys. You remember in the key of G, the way the G major arpeggio falls, you get to cross strings every time you change a position in the arpeggio. Hear that rocking bow? You're probably doing that rocking bow because you already know this in G. In the key of A, you notice we only get a string crossing when we go for the fifth. It's just not as rocky, is it? Not rocky like choppy, but rocky as in rocking the bow. That didn't work out well grammatically, but you know what I'm getting at. All right, so if I like that string crossing character in the E section, I need to kind of retool a little bit of this so I can get a few extra string crossings, even though they don't fall as often in the key of A as they do in the key of G. So here I'm going to change the melody a little bit. Rather than doing my Frère Jacques that we did in the key of G, I could do that. Or I actually, instead of the Frère Jacques, just played another arpeggio so I get another string crossing. It's like a little variation, right? Give that a try. Start with the A major arpeggio. Slow. Another arpeggio. Turn around. Back to part one. And now the same ending as the D section. Odds, evens. It's our second cloud ending. D and E share an ending. Cool! Well, that's it. Let's do 2 E's. Put it together. Rewind and practice a little bit if you need to, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. See if you can maximize your string crossings. Cloud ending. And that's the end of the tune. Cool. So as we play it through, you notice not only did I add the arpeggiation variation to get an extra string crossing, I also, in the key of A, it's very easy to just drone your open E string. That's not so easy to do in the key of G. Because the fifth is here, right? I would have to keep my third finger down. I have to use illusion string crossings there. In the key of A, I can just use the double stops. Play 2 E's one more time, 2 E sections rather, and see if you can get a little bit of that droning going on. It makes it more string crossing-y. Cloud ending. Got it. All right. So that will give you the Foxhunters in A, but hopefully way more than that, it gives you an idea. Start playing around with what happens to a tune when you play it in A as opposed to in G. And of course, this could go to other keys too, right? We could do the Foxhunters in F. Wow. I have to kind of figure it out. I've never done that before. That's a cool key. It makes it sound very, very like too cool for school. That's Foxhunters with like shades and etude, right? Totally different character. All I had to do was find my F arpeggio. There's an idea. Any of you whose ears just pricked up and went, ooh, Foxhunters in F, I can figure that out. Yes, you can. Go figure it out. Go play around with it. Try the Foxhunters in E. Try the Foxhunters in C. And see what happens to the tune. When you change keys, different bowings will become available because the string crossings will move. Different ornaments will become available because where they sit in your hand moves. And different double stops will become available because your open strings may or may not match the chord that's going on. It's an endless world of adventures, and the Foxhunters is a great tune to do it on because everything is so arpeggiated. It's pretty easy to transpose. If you want to try transposing a tune that has a little bit less defined arpeggio, that maybe has more scalular work or more mixed up stuff, that's also fine. You just look for the patterns like we did in that B section of like, oh, that's a sixth. How do I transpose that sixth to a new key? And a lot of it is just done by ear. It's easier to do by ear when you know how the tune goes. Dum, bum. how do I find this sound in my fingers? And it can be a little bit of hunt and peck, right? Where you have to play different versions and see if it sounds like the tune that you know. But that's all right. You can work right through it. And the more you do transposition, the better you're going to get at it. The first tune you do this to is going to take a while. A few days, maybe even a week, maybe even 2 weeks. But the next tune you do is going to take a little shorter because you'll remember how to think in patterns. And this is what we do on Tune of the Month all the time anyway, right? We're always talking about patterns in the melodies, in the bowings, in the ornaments. And transposing really makes sure that you're doing that because you can't think note to note. All the names of the notes are different. You have no choice but to use patterns, and that will make all of your fiddle playing better, especially learning by ear. All right, so I hope this has been fun. As always, if you would like to see sheet music for this or any future tunes of the month, make sure you're subscribed to my newsletter. Go to www.mariblack.com, hit subscribe, and you'll get a little email hello from me once a month with announcements of classes I'm teaching, shows I'm playing, and my special extra for you subscribers, a Tune of the Month sheet music. And if you missed this, if you're watching this in the future, I hope it's good there. Foxhunters is very easy to find online. If you missed my version, just search for the Foxhunters real sheet music and you'll find it on thesession.org. You can find it on the Traditional Tune Archive, JC's ABC and Tune Finder, and all those other great places where you can find sheet music. But of course, always better to just do it by ear. That's traditional. It'll make you a better player, so do it. All right, well done, guys. I look forward to seeing you next month for more tunes.